Yeah, lovely to see everybody. Thank you very much for joining our session today. The focus of the webinar, as you can see, is to provide you with guidance and advice about how to submit a strong application for any one of our executive diplomas in 2026. So just to briefly start with introductions, I'm Laura Davidson. I'm a recruitment manager here at SCI Business School. And also on the call with me is Abigail Crichton, who is a senior admissions advisor at the business school as well. And together we will be talking and walking you through the key elements of the application process. So if I could please move to the next slide. Thank you. You'll see the agenda here, if you wouldn't mind going back one slide, thank you. To start with, we will talk you through the general application process and the admission requirements. Abby will go through the different steps and the documents that are involved within this. I'll then speak about the scholarships that are available and key application deadlines for the remaining year. We'll then end with a Q&A session. So please do put any questions that you have on the Q&A function, which should be up and running. If you can, I would say wait until after the presentation, because I really hope that we answer lots of questions within the presentation. We'll be sharing hints and tips. I do have two lovely colleagues also on the call who will be keeping an eye on the Q&A function though. And together we will do our best to answer as many questions as we can. There are lots of you on the call, but we will do our best to answer as many as we can in the session today. So if we could please go to the next slide, Felix. Thank you. I'm just going to provide a very quick summary of the diploma portfolio. As you can see here, we have 5 executive diplomas, but we have 7 classes. So we have 2 in-person streams of the diploma in artificial intelligence for business, and 1 in-person and 1 online stream of the diploma in strategy and innovation. Whatever program you choose, they're all standalone qualifications. They are all taught and assessed at master's level, and they're all part-time. So they're all delivered in 4 by 4-day modules over 12 months. So if you are, so every module will be spaced sort of about every 3 months apart. And each program starts between January and March next year. You can find all the start dates and all the module dates for each program on our website. And the fee for 2026 is just over £34,000. If we please go to the next slide. Great, just to share a little bit of information on the typical class profile. You can see the figures here. These are averages. These are taken from averages over the last few years from all the diploma programs. So they vary a little bit, of course, depending on which class you actually join. Some are a fair bit bigger, actually closer to about 60. But regardless of whatever cohort or program you join, you can expect to be part of a really diverse group of people coming from all over the world, working in many different sectors. A big question is sort of age and experience level. As you can see, people tend to be in the average is early 40s, but the age range is very wide. So we see people in their 20s and we see people in their 60s and beyond, and we love having that diversity of perspective in each class. Great, so if we go to the next slide, before I pass to Abby, I'm just going to run through the basics of what is needed to create an application. So if you go to the next slide again, please. Thank you. Just to mention where you create your application, it's all done online via the application portal, which you'll find on our website. Right at the top of each program page, it says apply. You then set up an account, as you can see here, using your name, your email address, and your date of birth. You'll then create a password, and you'll use this along with your email address to log back. You can log back in at a later date. So if you like to, you can slowly work on your application and save your work, obviously, as you go before you hit submit. Moving to the next slide, just to mention, of course, the admission requirements. So we ask that you have at least 5 years of professional experience. As you saw on the class profile slide, most people have quite a bit more than this, but we ask for a minimum of 5 years. And also that you have an upper second class degree or equivalent, so a 2-1 or equivalent. If you're not sure of the international equivalent, you can find information available on the university website. If you don't have this result for your degree, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply, particularly if you have strong professional experience, strong leadership experience, maybe you hold other professional qualifications. If you have any concerns, please do get in contact with us. We're very happy to speak about it further and talk you through it, obviously on a case-by-case basis, if that's helpful. Then, of course, English language proficiency. This program is obviously taught and assessed in English and at master's level. So naturally, you must have a really good command of English in order to join and fully participate. So if you meet this criteria, then we would love to see an application from you. And as you can see, there are different documents and pieces of information that we need for you in order to do so. Just to briefly mention them, and Abby will go through all of these in more detail. We need your CV, we need your academic transcripts, references, and then there are 2 short essays. So I'm going to pause there and hand over to Abby, who will go through each of these elements. So if we have the next slide, thanks, Felix, and over to you, Abby.
Thanks, Laura. So hi, everybody. I'm an admissions advisor here at the Said Business School. I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes or so just running through the key elements of the application that Laura has mentioned, what the admissions committee will look for, along with what documents you will need to submit before your application can be reviewed. So starting with the academic requirement. So we ask that you upload transcripts for each degree that you hold. The admissions committee will look at your transcripts for each degree, and this is just to show that you'll be able to keep up with the academic aspects of the programme. I've attached just here a photo of a sample transcript. It should be an official transcript, and it should have your name, the degree you've studied, the marks you've achieved for each module, as well as your final grade. If your transcript is not in English, we'll also need a professionally certified English translation. And translation services can be found easily online, but do let us know if you need any assistance. If you don't currently have a transcript, you can contact your university and order them directly. Most universities now offer a digital service where the transcript can be downloaded, or they should be able to post them to you. It's worth noting the admissions committee won't be able to review your application without the transcript, so it's a good idea to order these as soon as you can, just so it does not delay your application. Next slide, please. So as we've mentioned, we require 5 years professional experience, and you'll be able to demonstrate that you have this by providing your CV. Now, the CV should be concise, no more than 2 pages, and it should outline each role that you've held. So just please make sure that you acknowledge any gaps, so there's no question marks around what you've been doing at a particular time. We do recognise that career breaks can be necessary, so just make sure they're acknowledged on the CV so there aren't any question marks. There's also a question within the application where you'll be able to go into detail about your current role and the responsibilities that you have. And this is to show the admissions committee the impact that you're having within the workplace currently and the type of contribution that you'll be able to make to the class as well. Next slide, please. And that just brings me to references. So we ask for 2 references as a minimum. At least 1 should be a professional referee, but ideally we would encourage candidates to submit 2 professional references. It should be someone that has worked with you, someone who knows you well professionally. It shouldn't be a family member or a friend. Now, what the admissions committee will want to learn from your references is your communication style, your teamwork, how your colleagues perceive you, and just generally the contribution that you'll make within the workplace. Ideally, it would be your line manager if you're currently employed, or it could be a previous line manager, or maybe a client if you own your own business, but someone who'll be able to put some time in to really provide enough detail for us. Now, we don't accept references from personal email accounts such as Gmail or Hotmail. We ask you to provide your referees' professional email addresses, and once you input these within the form, we can contact them directly for you. The referee is sent a link and they can submit the reference to us quite easily. It's worth noting that you can submit your application even if we haven't received the references yet, just as long as you've entered the details within the form. But the application won't be reviewed by the committee until both references have been received. Next slide, please. English proficiency. So this is an important part of the form for anyone that isn't a UK citizen or a citizen of an English-speaking country as determined by the UK government. And there's 2 ways that you can show your English language proficiency, by either completing an IELTS or a TOEFL test or obtaining an English language test waiver. Now, you can obtain the test waiver 2 ways, either by using an academic waiver where you provide evidence that you've completed a full-time degree within 2 years of the start date of the programme, or requesting a waiver based on your professional experience, where you submit a statement which includes your professional experience speaking English, and it should include examples of the 4 components: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. It must be written by you. We don't have a template for this, but it is usually no more than a page. It should be your perspective of your use of English, your use of the English language, and where you use it professionally. Next slide, please. And that just brings me to the essays. So as part of the application, you're asked to submit 2 500-word essays. The first one is almost like a personal statement around your motives for doing the programme, and the other is around your achievements, just to really show the depth of your experience and what you will bring to the cohort. Now, there's some tips there for success, but please pay close attention to the word count of 500 each. Any less will just be in a disadvantage, as the committee are learning less about you than other candidates. Now, we do want to hear from you, so don't use AI or plagiarism, and we do run all essays through our similarity detection software, so just make sure that you're referencing anything that you use from another source. Now, you can easily upload your essays from within the application form. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to hand back to Laura now, who will talk through some options for funding.
Thanks, Abby. Really helpful. Lots of advice there, lots of hints and tips for people for all of the elements I really of the application. I hope that all made sense. We've already got questions coming in. But yes, thanks, Abby. That was great. If we move to the next slide, please, I will talk about scholarships and funding, etc., because I can already see that we have some questions about that, which is obviously natural. And I'll talk about what you need to do to be considered. First of all, you need to submit your application by the 30th of June. So the deadline is just a few days away. The scholarship awards, which I'll talk about the actual awards in the next slide, offer up to 50% of the tuition fees. So it's important to mention we don't have any full scholarships. That means you will be required to fund at least the other 50% of the programme. An important thing to mention as well, as you would expect, scholarships are limited, they're highly competitive. Please don't assume you will get one. And really make sure, if this is something that you're really passionate about and really keen to do, please make sure you're exploring other funding avenues. So this might be something like a bank loan. We have information available on our website, information available on the university website. I know students use loans to spread the cost of the programme. It might be, you get some funding through your employer, building a business case and such. We really recommend that you do that, or of course through your own means and savings. If I can please go to the next slide, I will talk you through the actual awards that we have available for 2026. First of all, to mention the 2 scholarships where you do have to write an additional essay. So you upload this under the funding section of the application portal. We have, first of all, the scholarship for women, which is of course open to female applicants. And to be considered, you need to submit a 500-word essay talking about how you meet the criteria, which is listed here. So the committee are looking at academic and professional achievement and your desire to be a role model and ambassador for the programme. We also have the Directors Awards, so that is open to everyone. And to be considered, you have to submit a 500-word essay where you talk about how your background will enhance the diversity of the class and how by doing the programme, it will lead to positive change either in your sector, country or region. Again, we look at academic and professional achievement and potential. I think just to mention a tip really for writing both of these essays is to make sure you are addressing all of the selection criteria and to really focus on these points. The awards aren't means tested. Sometimes people go off track slightly and talk about other things, but the committee will be judging only on the criteria listed above, and make sure you reference all of those points in all of your essays. That will give you the best chance. The third award we have is the Ruley Scholarship. We only have a 1 award per diploma programme. You will automatically be considered for this. There's nothing you need to do. You don't need to write an additional essay. And this is based entirely on academic performance and previous professional achievements. So we'll be looking at your qualifications and your work experience. For all of the awards, you will need to have a degree to be considered. So that's also just something to bear in mind. So I hope that information about the scholarships is helpful. And obviously all of this criteria is listed on our website, so you can find it and reference it when you're working on your applications. As a female applicant, that obviously means that you might be writing, 2 additional scholarship awards. So just upload those under the funding section. If we then please move to the next slide. Thank you. Some key dates for joining in 2026. So we do actually accept applications on a rolling basis. You don't have to wait for the dates above to submit your application, but the 30th of June is the sort of hard scholarship deadline. So if you apply later, unfortunately, you won't be considered for a scholarship. It obviously has to be a fair process. So please make sure you get your application in before Monday. In terms of timing for the scholarship deadline, which is the next deadline after you submit your application, you'll first of all hear if you've actually been accepted onto the programme between 4 and 6 weeks after the 30th of June. And then the scholarship deadline will be released in September. So there is a bit of a wait. We'll obviously let you know as soon as that result has been released, as we realise how important it is. You don't need to get in contact with us. We will contact you and let you know the outcome. So as you can see, if you're applying for the Diploma in Artificial Intelligence for Business Stream 2, or the diploma, or the online stream of the Diploma in Strategy and Innovation, the final deadline for next year is January of 2026. For all other programs, the final deadline is the 24th of November of this year. If you know that you want to join us in 2026, I'd say don't wait until the very end. As to submit your application as soon as you can, because the sooner you submit, the sooner you'll know, and the sooner you can start making plans, which just helps with everything. So yes, ideally, apply as soon as you possibly can. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then here are the contact details and email address, etc., of our wider recruitment team. So as you can see, we focus on regions across the globe. So depending on where you live, please contact a relevant member of the team. They will be happy to have a call with you to answer your questions. You can email us directly. So all of this is obviously available on our website too, but if you want to take a photo or make a note of our email addresses, then please do so now. So that brings us to the end of the Q&A, of the main presentation, and we will move to questions. I can see that there are quite a few. Let me have a look. So we've had a question, Matt, does the 30th of June deadline mean submission on Monday? Is it okay? It needs to be the last working day before the 30th. Yeah, Monday is absolutely fine. Anytime on Monday up to midnight is not, we won't sort of be shutting it off. But yeah, you have all of Monday to submit your application. So thanks, Matt, for the questions. So Ben has submitted a question. Hi, Ben. For diplomas with 2 streams, does the choice of stream impact your application? For example, if the first stream is filling up and you select the first stream, would you consider for the second stream? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you do pick which, the AI for Business is the program which has 2 in-person streams. So if that program is full, we would offer you a place on the second stream. The Diploma in Strategy and Innovation, obviously, it's quite different. There's an in-person and an online stream. So you would select which program you're applying for at point of application. And yeah, it's a bit of a different process. So I do hope that helps. Thank you. Somebody said, is the course online? We only offer the Diploma in Strategy and Innovation online at the moment. All other programs are held in person. So that means that you are required to come to Oxford 4 times over the course of the year. So that means traveling back and forth. We have people coming from all over the world. So they fly in generally. People, fly in a day or 2, depending on time zones and how far you're traveling, and personal preference. People come, a couple of days at least, and some people fly out straight after class is finished. Some people stay for the weekend. There's obviously so much to do in Oxford. You'll make extremely strong sort of relationships, friendships with your cohort. So yeah, it's very much down to personal preference and budget. There's obviously, yeah, the cost of staying in Oxford is another expense to take into account. So lots of questions. I can thank you, Anna, for answering some of these. Can I submit my application without transcripts as I don't have access until the 30th of August? So, I mean, Abby, you might want to add to this. You can submit your application, but until we get your transcripts, I don't believe we'll move your application forward. Are you able to say any more
Yeah,
about that, Abby?
that's right. I mean, it can only go so far. And what we'd ideally like to see, if you want to apply for a scholarship and you want to submit before the 30th of June deadline, I would say go ahead. But ideally, if you have something in writing from your university, just to say why you can't submit your transcripts, why they can't send them to you, that's just include that, as you can always email us and we can attach that to your application with a note. But it will only go so far. So even if you were given an offer, a condition of your offer would be that to submit us to us the original transcript.
Thank you, Abby. That's really helpful. A good question from George, which is quite an important one, who says, for Monday deadline, do I need to have all my references submitted by Monday as well? The answer is you need to have their contact, so you need to input their information into the form. So that's their contact information, who they are, where they work, their relationship to you. But if you submit on Monday, we're obviously not expecting them to reply as upload their letter on the same day. We give people, and Abby, you may be able to elaborate, but yeah, we recognise people need time to put that together. So you'll still be considered for a scholarship if your reference comes later. Abby, do you want to talk any more about that?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. As long as your application is submitted, you'll be considered for the scholarship. The scholarship meeting's a bit later on anyway, where the scholarship meet. So by that time, they should have been uploaded by your referees. But yeah, we do make allowances for the fact that some references might take a while to come through.
Yeah, and also just to mention that you'll receive an automated email each time one of your, I'm sorry if I've already mentioned this, each time one of your referees responds, so you can keep track. And then you'll know that, you know, both are in, and that will give you some reassurance. Very occasionally reference our emails, because it comes from our online system, is blocked. So if you're it's also worth just checking in with your referees that they've received the email from us, and obviously if they haven't, then let us know, and we'll work to find a solution for you. There's a question from Anonymous. So yes, you have to attend. So if you're attending the lectures in person every 3 or 4 months, and most of the modules are 4 days. How does the schedule work? Full day of lectures, half day of lectures. So yes, the schedule is essentially full days of lectures. Every module, you're generally in class from really sort of 9 to 5. There's lots of breakout groups. It's not just sat in a lecture listening. There's lots of interaction. You'll be working in small groups and presentations. There's also lots of sort of fun and social things that we do over the course of the year. Every module, every in-person module, there's a college dinner. So you will be an associate member of one of the colleges as part of the program. But we go to different colleges across Oxford and really give you that experience. We do other fun things like punting or Oxford tours, and then, you know, classes put on their own social events as well. So yeah, there's lots to do, but essentially you will be in class for the days that you're in module. Cody, how much academic work is required between in-person classes? Another really good question. So the work that you do in between modules essentially is sort of split into two camps. It's either pre-work, so reading lists, preparing for your modules, and faculty generally release that about a month before the module starts. So about 4 weeks before your module, before you're due for your module, on our online learning platform, which is Canvas, you'll get the reading material, and you work your way through that at your own pace. And that's a lot of academic sort of theories and frameworks that you should be familiar with. And when you come to class, you'll be talking about those. And obviously, you know, it's based more on sort of real life. You'll be sharing a lot about your experience in class. And then the work that you do as well is on assessments. So, you know, because this is a qualification, you graduate at the end, you know, you come back to Oxford. We have a graduation actually this Saturday for the 2024 diploma classes. you spend time working on your assessments as well. The majority of assessments are done from home. There is also a 6,000 word final paper that you spend 3 months working on. So yeah, there's quite a lot of work and research that you do on your own, again, self-paced, but we do put on sessions as well. You know, you're always in contact with your class, you're always in contact with your program director. We are here to support you. There is an exam for module 2 of the Diploma in Financial Strategy. So that's the program, that is the one program where you will sit an exam in person. Don't let that put you off though, everybody survives, and yeah, but everything else is done remotely. So I hope that helps answer your question. Maybe this is one, Abby, you might be able to help with. If I apply for different diplomas, is there a way to use the same references and recommend same references from the contacts in one application, which is just
There
yeah.
is. There's certainly ways that you can transfer different parts of your application from one program to another, such as your CV or your transcript. So things that won't change. References is slightly trickier because obviously we're asking the referee to comment on your about you when you're, excuse me, sorry. Reference is slightly tricky because we're asking the referee to comment on your participation within a specific program. So it really does depend on that reference that they've submitted. If it's quite specific to that program, we couldn't use it. So it might be worth getting somebody else to do one for 2 different programs.
Thank you. A question here from Anonymous. Is it 2 days a week? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but modules are 4 days, generally 4 days, and every few months. So yeah, definitely not 2 days. It is a commitment. I guess that's the thing to get across. You know, everyone on this on all of our diploma programs is senior full-time jobs, often with families, you know, living all over the world. And in between modules, we probably say you're 6 to 8 hours of study time a week. You know, some weeks you'll spend more time, some weeks you'll spend less because life gets in the way, you're busy with work. Yeah, you know, this will keep you quite busy over the course of the year. So thank you for that question. I hope that helps.
I've got one here about transcripts. Somebody's asking if they should open their sealed transcripts or send them to us. We don't want your hard copy originals. We would like you to open your transcripts and scan them and send them to us for the application process. It's difficult for us to return any originals to you, so that's the reason for that.
Thanks, Abby. So we've got another question on saying 4 times. Is this throughout the academic year or per week or per month? No, this is 4 times over 12 months. So all module dates are listed on our website already, so you can go in and look at the exact dates that your module will be taking place. And for the majority, obviously, that is in Oxford, apart from the online stream of Diploma in Strategy and Innovation. So you will be, 4 times over a course of a year. So there's lots of time that you're back at home, back in your job, busy working. So we've got a question here from Anonymous. Regarding reference letters, I understand that it's generally recommended to have 2 professional references. However, I currently invited a graduate supervisor as one of my referees as I'm applying for the scholarship. That's fine, as long as you have 1 other professional reference. Given the time, I'm concerned that I may not be able to change my referee in time. So could you advise if this would be acceptable? Yeah, it's fine. And Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, absolutely fine to have a academic reference. We do see those, particularly if you've studied really recently, and some people have, particularly postgraduate qualifications. But regardless, that's fine. We just need to make sure that we have 1 professional referee. If you're not sure that they will reply in a reasonable time frame, so a week or so after the 30th of June, feel free to contact us with the details of another person that we can contact as well. Abby, can people log back in and add these details, or should they send them directly to us?
I think they can just email directly to us, and then we can add it to their application and send the request.
Okay, thank you. There was a question about scholarships, but that's fine. where can you find the costs related to the program? That's on our website. It's just over £34,000. If I apply for an English language waiver, should the supporting evidence include employment verification letters or screenshots related to examples? Again, Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, but no, you don't have to provide any proof. We don't need your employer to send any verifications. You don't need to upload any certificates. We just need you to provide a supporting statement. We take your word for it. You know, if you say that you are working in an environment where you're speaking English every day at work, and you have done for, you know, however many years, yeah, we take you at your word. You don't need to provide anything else. That's correct, isn't it, Abby?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just a statement written by you. You can reference your employment or anything. Sometimes people have a letter from their employer that they upload as well, and that's absolutely fine. You can reference that within your statement. But yeah, no, we don't do any checks or anything.
For the transcripts, a question, Abby. I have a PhD. Should I
Mhm.
provide all the transcripts for each degree or the highest one? So actually, I can answer that. Please provide transcripts for every degree that you list on your CV, not just the highest. So I hope that makes sense. Can I so what are the ratio of applicants and accepts? We receive a good number of applications. But I would say if you meet the selection criteria, so that means you have at least 5 years of work experience, you have, a degree, particularly at a good level, and you put together a good essay, your chances of being accepted are pretty reasonable. If you have any qualms or you're worried, my advice would be book a one-to-one with our recruitment team. They can provide feedback sort of directly, and they'll let you know your chances. It's obviously without seeing people's sort of CVs and LinkedIn profiles, it's hard to say how likely we think. But part of our role is obviously assessing that. We wouldn't encourage people who we don't think are qualified, because we appreciate how long it takes to put together an application. There isn't an application fee, but I think I saw a question earlier about, and apologies because there are lots of questions and we're answering them, so they're moving around. So it's hard to keep track. But if you have less than 5 years, I would wait. If it's 5 years by the time the program starts, that might be okay. But yeah, we don't unfortunately submit people because, you know, it's a very collaborative style of learning. You spend a lot of time sharing your experience with the class. If you don't have as much experience as other people, you'll feel a little bit uncomfortable. You know, we don't want that. So I just say wait a year. There's obviously no disadvantage. You can apply, see what happens. You're not blacklisted. You can apply next year. It's absolutely fine. There's no application fee, as I mentioned, I think. But you know, I would wait until you meet the eligibility criteria because it's there for a reason. So I hope that helps. I'll just say that I've answered that one. Let me see. So I think we're nearly there with questions, which is good. If you have any remaining questions, we've answered the English language one, I believe. Answered that one. Sorry, everybody, just double checking. There's something here. Can you give an example of referencing my work while writing my essay for the scholarship? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Sorry, Christopher. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. If I apply for the Directors Award and the Women's Award, may I reuse some overlapping content in the two essays? Specifically, can I reference parts of my motivation achievements from one essay and the other, or do they need to be completely different? Good question. Yeah, I mean, there might be parts that are, you know, as a female applicant, you're obviously eligible for both. And you might reuse parts, but the criteria is different. As I mentioned, the directors is always about sort of, yeah, the diversity of the cohort, impact on your region. It's less about motivations for applying for the program. So as I sort of touched on and hopefully you heard, just really make sure you are crossing off the criteria. If you're doing that, you know, that's a fantastic starting point. If you do reuse the odd line or so, that's fine. We see it. You certainly won't be penalised if you feel that it's relevant because is a bit of crossover, particularly with academic and professional performance and excellence. So I hope that makes sense. What if I hold? So there's a question here. What if I hold leadership roles in two different businesses? Oh, right. So I assume you have two different roles is what you mean. Yeah, we see that quite regularly. People sometimes, yeah, people are working in different roles. That's fine. Just make that really clear in your, again, Abby, feel free to jump in. Make that really clear in your CV so that we understand that you're working, a list perhaps your different responsibilities on your CV, and probably, yeah, worth mentioning in your essay. Anything to add, Abby? About
No, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, we see it a lot where people have different roles that they're doing at the same time. It's just as long as the dates are all there, that's absolutely fine. Yeah.
A question from Anonymous. Are transcripts uploaded under professional qualifications? Abby, probably easier if you explain this because I know people get quite confused.
Yeah, I think once you submit your application, it prompts you to upload them. But if you're having any trouble with that, you can put them under professional qualifications, and we will see that they're there and move them to the correct place. So don't worry too much.
Thank you. Let's have done that question. Does the diploma qualify as a short term? Do international students need a visitor visa? Yes. Again, Abby, feel free to jump in. So you obviously, because it's a part-time program, you don't qualify for a student visa through this program. So you can't move to the UK and get a job essentially after the program. You will apply for a visitor visa, which I believe is valid for 6 months. And so you renew it partway through the program, and Abby and the team help you with the documentation needed. Is that correct, Abby?
That's correct. Yeah, it's called a short-term visitor visa, and as you've said, they're for 6 months, and most people it's the cheapest way to do it, really, because people have to leave and come back, so they tend to get one 6-month visa and then apply another one part way through.
Exactly. That's great. Let me just have a look. Somebody's written a question about, oh, maybe it's disappeared, about the Directors Awards, but I think it's been answered by my colleague. Thank you to my colleagues for answering so many questions. We've had loads of questions, over 40. Do we take people from corporate? Oh, do companies recruit from these classes? So not in the same way as like an MBA. Obviously the impact of these programs is massive. Loads of people have, job changes, move roles, move country, do a huge amount. And the network that you'll get out of that, and the status of being an Oxford alum, and that, continues for life, helps. But no, we don't have any sort of setup. We're not engaged with any companies who will then sort of look for talent, if that makes sense. So yeah, good question. There's no GMAT test score. You can leave all of that blank. Thank you for that question. Fee structure. Generally we ask for a 15% deposit to secure your place. That's 15, and then the remaining balance before your program starts. I think we are there with all of the questions. We've had loads and loads. Oh, another one. Is there a pathway from the executive diplomas to a full master's? So there is a pathway. The pathway that all of our programs or our diploma programs offer is to our executive MBA. So there are a couple of benefits for doing so. You have a module exemptions for the 4 modules that you've obviously studied as part of your diploma programs, and that's valid for 5 years from when your diploma starts. So you don't do the assessments for those. There's also a fee reduction. So 60% of your diploma fee is taken away from the cost of the executive MBA. So I hope that helps. But yes, there is a pathway. Lots of people, go on to do the executive MBA. They come here, they love studying, they want to stay. Some people jump straight in, some people wait several years. Some people have already done an executive MBA or an MBA, so they don't need to, they're not looking at that. But yes, there is a pathway, but that's the only pathway that we offer. I can see lots of thank yous. Thank you to Anna for answering so many questions. Great. So I think we're going to stop there as we're pretty much at time. I really do hope that the session has been helpful. I know that Monday isn't far away for people to finalise their application, so good luck to everybody. I really hope that everything makes sense and you know, have time to do it and submit your application anytime on Monday. You know, get in touch with the recruitment team if you're not sure. I know there's not much time to have a one-to-one, but if you meet the eligibility criteria and you haven't had time to speak to the recruitment team, my advice is just jump in with your application. We can speak with you afterwards. Because yeah, I really appreciate there's only one working day. Yeah, but it would be lovely to get your feedback. So if you do have time, there's not many questions, please do scan this QR code. It should take you to a feedback form. And it'd be lovely to hear how helpful the session was today. So we'd really appreciate it if you have time. But thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a really well attended session. Really hope that it's been helpful to everybody. We really hope that you can come to Oxford and join us. So yeah, good luck with your applications. Thank you, Abby, for joining me today. And thanks to the team as well. And yeah, we really hope to see you all in Oxford early next year. So yeah, best wishes to everybody and thank you.